Lesson 13. At the hotel. Hello. Today we're going to review adjectives and then we're going to learn adjective clauses. But as usual, first we must learn some new vocabulary. A lobby. A lobby. A lobby is a large area just inside the entrance of a hotel. There are usually sofas and chairs for people to sit on. A souvenir shop. A souvenir shop. A souvenir shop is a small store in a hotel where people can buy things to remind them of a place they had visited. A reception desk. A reception desk is a large desk where visitors arriving at a hotel go first. A reception clerk works behind this desk. A bellhop. A bellhop. A bellhop is a man who carries bags and takes messages at a hotel. A concierge. A concierge. Concierge is someone whose job in a hotel is helping guests, for example, by giving them advice about local restaurants. A single room. A single room. Single room is a room for one person with one bed. And a double room. A double room is a room for two people with one large bed or two small beds. A suite. A suite. A suite is a set of rooms, usually expensive ones, at a hotel. A penthouse suite. A penthouse suite. A penthouse suite is a very expensive set of rooms built on the top of a hotel. A service elevator. A service elevator. A service elevator is an elevator used by workers of the hotel to transport goods or materials from one floor to another. It is not used by hotel customers. A maid. A maid. A maid is an employee of a hotel whose job is cleaning rooms. Room service. Room service. Room service is a service provided by a hotel by which food and drink can be sent up to a person's room. And lastly, complimentary. Complimentary. This is an adjective which means free for a hotel's guests. There may be a complimentary bottle of champagne in a room or a complimentary basket of fruit. At some hotels, there's a complimentary breakfast. A lobby, a souvenir shop, a reception desk, a bellhop and a concierge, a single room, a double room, a suite, a penthouse suite, a service elevator, a maid, room service, and complimentary. Adjectives. Well, now let's start with a review of adjectives. So please have a look at these examples on your screen. I hope we have nice weather so we can use the hotel pool. We found a complimentary basket of fruit in our room. The angry clerk shouted at the maid. The young lovers took the suite. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. We can say they modify nouns. The word modify means change a little. Adjectives give a little different meaning to a noun. Adjectives usually come in front of nouns. In the first sentence, nice and hotel are adjectives. Nice describes the weather. Hotel describes the pool. In the second sentence, complimentary is the adjective. It modifies basket. In the third sentence, angry is an adjective. It describes the clerk. In the fourth sentence, young is an adjective. It describes the lovers. An adjective can also follow be, as in these examples. The hotel maid was dirty. The bed in Paul's room is round. That bellhop isn't very intelligent. The service elevator is dangerous for customers to use. Adjectives describe or give information about a noun or pronoun that comes at the beginning of a sentence. This noun or pronoun is called the subject. An adjective in this kind of sentence is called the complement because it completes the information about the subject. In the first sentence, dirty is an adjective. It modifies made. In the second sentence, round is an adjective. It describes the bed. In the third sentence, intelligent is an adjective. It describes the bellhop. In the fourth sentence, dangerous is an adjective. It modifies elevator. Let's practice. Well, today we'll start with a review of adjectives. This should be easy for you. For most of this lesson, let's remember the last hotel we stayed in. Rosa, what was your hotel like?
It was beautiful. It was near Mexico City. The large rooms had wonderful views.
Very good. And what about you, Lewis?
It was disgusting. It was in a bad section of Lisbon. The rooms were smelly and there were many drunk people there.
I'm sorry. Monica?
It was in Warsaw. It was a nice hotel, but it was very noisy. The streets were crowded and I couldn't sleep in the morning because of the large street vendors.
Thank you very much, everyone. Well, now let's do a useful and interesting look and listen.
Look and listen.
There was a man playing an old piano in the hotel lobby. Eileen bought 8 postcards at the hotel souvenir shop. The maids at that hotel are very slow. The man was hungry, so he ordered room service.
Read and repeat.
And now let's quickly review comparative and superlative adjectives. For example, this hotel costs more than that hotel. This hotel is the most expensive hotel in the city. This double room is better than that double room. This is the best double room in the hotel. The comparative compares this or that to these or those. Comparative is usually followed by than. Sentences 1 and 3 use comparatives. A superlative compares one part of a whole to the rest of the group. A superlative begins with the. Sentences 2 and 4 use superlatives. Let's practice. Let's talk about the last hotel you stayed in compared to the best hotel in your city. Monica, what do you think?
It was noisier than the best hotel in Warsaw, and it's the noisiest hotel in Warsaw.
Thank you, Monica. Lewis?
It was the cheapest hotel in Lisbon. That's why it was the worst.
Okay. And Rosa?
The rooms were more beautiful than the rooms at the best hotel in Mexico City. It was the best.
Good answers. Well, now your English will get better as you look and listen.
Look and listen.
My single room is bigger than your double room. The Chinese food in the hotel restaurant is the worst in the city. The complimentary breakfast was more delicious in this hotel. Larry's room service delivery was the quickest he has ever had.
Read and repeat.
Let's look at another way to use adjectives. So please have a look at these sentences. This room isn't big enough for all the children. That hotel isn't warm enough in the winter. Is the music in the lobby loud enough? Jack isn't old enough to go in the hotel pool alone. Well, an adjective can be followed by enough, like the room is big enough. This means a situation is satisfactory or not satisfactory. For example, we have the room, we have 3 people, 2, 3. It's not too big, it's not too small. So the room is big enough. But if we have more people, there's not enough room. It's too small. So the room isn't big enough now. They can also be followed by a few other special verbs. Let's have a look at these sentences now. My hotel room smells awful. The conference at the hotel sounds interesting. Yvonne always feels good after exercising in the hotel health spa. The cherries in my complimentary fruit basket tasted sour. Adjectives can follow verbs called linking verbs. The adjectives describe the subject of the sentence. Let's have a look at these verbs. Linking verbs. And common linking verbs are to look, to smell, to feel, to taste, and to sound. To look, to smell, to feel, to taste, to sound. Let's practice. What was your last hotel room like, Rosa?
It smelled wonderful. It was great. It was the best room.
Good. Monica?
It wasn't quite enough. I couldn't sleep.
Very good. Lewis?
It wasn't clean enough, and it wasn't big enough. I felt horrible there.
I'm sorry about that, Lewis. Thank you, everyone. Now we're ready for Look and Listen.
Look and listen.
Ted's room is clean enough. The lobby wasn't large enough. The candy at the reception desk tastes bitter. I always feel comfortable at the Holiday Inn.
Read and repeat.
Now we're going to review 2 more uses of adjectives. First, let's look at adjectives followed by infinitives, as in these examples. Tom will be pleased to stay at this hotel. Walt was sorry to say he couldn't stay in a double room with Henrietta. Hank was shocked to learn the hotel had closed. Roger is afraid to get a room on the top floor of this hotel. Certain adjectives can be followed by infinitives. These adjectives usually describe a person or people, not a thing. And many of these adjectives describe a person's feelings or attitudes. Let's finish our review of adjectives by reviewing participle adjectives. Have a look at these sentences, please. Janet is an amusing reception clerk. The fire plan in that hotel is confusing. The people in the lobby are bored. Al was excited when he learned he would be staying at Best Western. So the present participle serves as an adjective with an active meaning. That means present participle, it's active meaning. For example, we have here, Janet is an amusing receptionist, let's say. This means Janet amuses people. It's an active sentence. Janet amuses people. Sentences 1 and 2 use present participles. The past participle is a passive meaning, which means something else is affected. Sentences 3 and 4 use past participles. Let's have a look at one of them. The people are bored. This means the people are bored by something. Something is boring the people. So this is a passive sentence, a passive construction. Let's practice this now. We're going to review adjectives followed by infinitives and participle adjectives. What was the lobby like in the last hotel you stayed in, Lewis?
I'm sorry to say it was as bad as the rooms. I will never stay there again, and I will sleep on the street.
Really? Okay, Rosa?
It was exciting in the lobby. There was a pianist and people were singing.
Wonderful. Monica?
I was bored sitting in the lobby. I was eager to leave, but I had to wait for my friends.
Good. Thank you, everyone. And now I think you are excited by this look and listen.
Look and listen.
Ron is ready to order room service. The concierge was confused by the couple's question. Jeff's directions to the hotel are confusing. I am willing to sleep on a cot if we can pay for a single room.
Read and repeat. Adjective clauses.
Now let's begin our study of adjective clauses, and we're going to look at adjective clauses that replace subjects. Before we begin, let's not forget what a clause is. A clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. So a clause must have a subject and a verb. For example, I ate breakfast before I left the hotel. I ate breakfast is a clause. It has a subject, I, and a verb, ate. It is called the main clause. I ate breakfast is the main clause. It's the main clause because it is a complete sentence. Another clause is before I left the hotel. Okay, this has a subject, I, and a verb, left, but it is called a dependent clause. Dependent clause because it is not a complete sentence and it must be connected to the main clause. It needs the main clause. Let's look at adjective clauses. We will start with adjective clauses beginning with that. Have a look at these sentences now. The hotel that I stayed at was expensive. Jim bought a souvenir that cost $5. An adjective clause is a dependent clause that modifies a noun or a pronoun. An adjective clause usually comes after the noun that it modifies. An adjective clause can be in the middle of a sentence or between two parts of the main clause. And an adjective clause can be at the end of a sentence. So in the first sentence, that I stayed at is the adjective clause. It begins with that and it modifies the word hotel. It is in the middle of the sentence. It is between the two parts of the main clause. We have the hotel I stayed at. The hotel was expensive. This is our main clause because it has a subject and a verb and it's a complete sentence. The hotel was expensive. And the dependent clause, that I stayed at. This is the dependent clause and it tells us, it describes the hotel. In the second sentence, that cost $5 is the adjective clause. It begins with that, it describes the noun, souvenir, and it is at the end of the sentence. Jim bought a souvenir that cost $5. When two sentences share the same noun, we can use that to replace the noun in the second sentence. Let's have a look at these two sentences. We stayed at a hotel. The hotel was expensive. We can combine or put together these two sentences by replacing the hotel in the second sentence with that. The hotel that we stayed at was expensive. That means the hotel. That is used as the object of a verb, stayed. That is used for ideas and things. Okay, that on the board. That equals ideas and things and sometimes people. It's informal. Let's have a look at the other example. Jim bought a souvenir. The souvenir cost $5. So we can combine these two sentences by replacing the souvenir in the second sentence with that, because the souvenir is the same in both sentences. Jim bought a souvenir that cost $5. That is the souvenir. So that is used as the subject of a clause. Let's say Jim bought look at it. Jim bought a souvenir that cost $5. This is our main clause. And this is our dependent adjective clause. Dependent adjective clause. This is the subject. That's the verb, that's the subject. Okay, sometimes we don't need to use that. This occurs when the adjective clause is in the middle of a sentence. Have a look at this example. The hotel that we stayed at was expensive. The hotel we stayed at was expensive. So the main clause, the hotel was expensive. This is a complete sentence. It's our main clause. That we stayed at. This clause is in the middle, so we don't need that. We can say the hotel we stayed at was expensive. Commas can be used in front of an adjective clause, after an adjective clause, or in both places. But the use of commas with adjective clauses will be discussed in a later lesson, so we won't worry about that now. We'll talk about it later on. Well, let's practice. Let's see if you understand.
It's not too difficult. I think we understand. We understand that a clause has a subject and a verb.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that an adjective clause can begin with that, and that replaces a subject.
Very good. Lewis, what's the worst hotel in Lisbon?
The hotel that I stayed at is the worst hotel in Lisbon.
Good. And what's the adjective clause in your sentence?
That I stayed at is the adjective clause.
Great. Monica, what about you?
I don't know. Warsaw is a city that has many hotels.
Okay, and what's the adjective clause in your sentence?
That has many hotels is the adjective clause.
Excellent. And Rosa?
There are many bad hotels in Mexico City. I don't stay at bad hotels that have a bad reputation.
Good. And what's the adjective clause in your sentence?
That have a bad reputation is the adjective clause.
Wonderful. I think everyone understands. And now we will do a look and listen that will help you learn English better.
Look and listen.
The bed that was in Karen's single room was uncomfortable. The Hilton that John went to was far from the city. The Holiday Inn is a hotel that respects its customers' privacy. The lounge that was in the front of the hotel was empty.
Read and repeat.
Now let's look at adjective clauses beginning with who. Here are some examples. The maid who cleaned our room was quick. We spoke with Mrs. Johnson, who is the reception clerk. Now, in the first sentence, who cleaned our room is the adjective clause. It describes the maid. So the adjective clause is between the main clause. The main clause, the maid was quick. Remember, it has a subject and a verb, and it's a complete sentence. The maid was quick. The adjective clause in the middle. The maid who cleaned our room. This is our adjective clause. The maid who cleaned our room was quick, and it's in the middle. In the second sentence, who is the reception clerk is the adjective clause. It describes Mrs. Johnson, and it comes after the main clause, we spoke with Mrs. Johnson. We spoke with Mrs. Johnson. We have a complete sentence, we, subject, spoke, verb, and it's a complete sentence. Who is the reception clerk? Who is the reception clerk is the adjective clause. Now, who is used only for people. Who and who, only people. We can use that for ideas and things and sometimes people, and who only for people. Let's practice. Let's use adjective clauses beginning with who in our sentences. Rosa, how did you find your hotel room?
I spoke with a friend who was very informative. She knows all the good hotels.
Great. And Lewis, how did you find your not so wonderful hotel?
I asked my friend Paula, who is an idiot. She thought it was funny.
I'm so sad for you, Lewis. And Monica?
I don't remember. A friend who works at the hotel may have given me some advice.
Great. Thank you, everyone. And now you will see the person who does the look and listen for you.
Look and listen.
The maid who stole the money was fired from the hotel. I asked the concierge, who was very helpful. The bellboy who had just started work was late on his second day. Tom, who was afraid of heights, didn't want to stay in the penthouse suite.
Read and repeat.
And now let's look at adjective clauses which begin with which. Here are some examples for you to look at. The magazine, which is in the lobby, is mine. The hotel, which Betty stayed at last month, is closed. In the first sentence, which is in the lobby is the adjective clause. It describes the magazine. In the second sentence, which Betty stayed at last month is the adjective clause. It describes the hotel. So we can use which for things. Which is used for ideas and things. That we can use for ideas and things and people, but it's informal. And who for only people. So you can see you could actually use that for everything if you want. Which for ideas and things, who only for people, that, ideas, things and people. It's the easiest one to use. And now let's practice. Let's make sentences with adjective clauses beginning with which. Let's talk about the first hotel you stayed in. What do you remember about your first hotel, Monica?
That's difficult. The first hotel which I stayed in was a great hotel for children. There was a playground and a pool.
Sounds like fun. And Lewis?
I remember the first hotel. It was in a section of Portugal, which is very beautiful. It was a good place.
Good for you. And Rosa?
My family stayed in a place which is near Acapulco. It was exciting.
Thank you, everyone. You were great. And now we're going to do our look and listen, which will help you practice.
Look and listen.
The lounge, which was near the elevator, was very crowded. The penthouse suite, which was already reserved, was being cleaned. We stayed in a room which had a beautiful view of the city. Pat reserved a suite which was on the 10th floor.
Read and repeat. Review.
Now it's time for some exercises. Let's fill in the blanks with the appropriate adjective. Rosa, how about you go first? The reception clerk was very what? She was screaming at the busboy.
The reception clerk was very angry. She was screaming at the busboy.
Good. The reception clerk was very angry. She was screaming at the busboy. Okay, Lewis, you can do this one. The penthouse suite is very what? It always has a something bottle of champagne. Okay, what do you think, Lewis?
Penthouse suite is very expensive. It always has a complimentary bottle of champagne.
Great. Complimentary. Okay. The penthouse suite is very expensive. It always has a complimentary bottle of champagne. Monica, the last one's for you. The something elevator is for the people who work at the hotel. Customers can use the something elevators near the lobby. Okay, Monica.
The service elevator is for the people who work at the hotel. Customers can use the new elevators near the lobby.
Excellent. The service elevator is for the people who work at the hotel. Customers can use the new elevators near the lobby. Good job. Thank you, everyone. Now let's do an exercise using adjectives plus enough. Let's fill in the blanks with one of the adjectives you see plus enough. Monica, you go first. This room isn't warm or cold enough. It's freezing in here.
This room isn't warm enough. It's freezing in here.
Excellent, okay. This room isn't warm enough. It's freezing in here. Rosa, do this one. The lobby wasn't small or big enough. Many people had to stand near the elevators.
The lobby wasn't big enough. Many people had to stand near the elevators.
Good. The lobby wasn't big enough. Many people had to stand near the elevators. Lewis, this one's for you. Our suite is far or close enough to the first floor. We don't want to walk a long way to the restaurant.
Our suite is close enough to the first floor. We don't want to walk a long way to the restaurant.
Good. Our suite is close enough to the first floor. We don't want to walk a long way to the restaurant. let's do one more exercise in our review of adjectives. Each of you will give us 2 sentences using participles. Lewis, you're a bellhop. Monica, you're a reception clerk. And Rosa, you are a concierge. Lewis, what are yours?
My job is exciting when I meet with beautiful women. I'm frustrated when I don't get a tip from someone.
Good sentences. Monica.
I'm bored when I have to work the midnight shift. It's sometimes confusing trying to keep the track of all the keys.
Great. Rosa.
My job is always interesting. I am always frustrated with rude customers.
Good job. Thank you, everyone. And now let's do some exercises using adjective clauses. Give us an appropriate adjective clause for these sentences. Lewis, you go first. The woman, something, had dinner with me.
The woman who I met in the lobby had dinner with me.
Very good. The woman who I met in the lobby had dinner with me. Very good. Rosa, you can do this one. The hat, something, was stolen from my room.
The hat, which I bought from the souvenir shop, was stolen from my room.
Okay, the hat which I bought in the souvenir shop was stolen from my room. Good. Monica, here's one for you. I prefer hotels, something.
I prefer hotels that have pools.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's do one more exercise using adjective clauses. Now, please tell us the adjective clauses that you use in your sentences. You're going to give me 2 sentences each. Rosa, you're a hotel manager. Lewis, a hotel customer. Monica, a hotel maid. Rosa, what are your sentences?
Here are my sentences. The people who stay at my hotel will be comfortable. The adjective clause is who stay at my hotel. In the second sentence, I want to have a hotel which everyone will come to. The adjective clause is which everyone will come to.
Wonderful. Lewis, how about yours?
I like hotels which have live music in the lobby. The adjective clause is which have live music in the lobby. Hotels that don't have elevators aren't good for older people. The adjective clause is that don't have elevators.
Very good. And Monica?
I hate customers who leave their rooms dirty. The adjective clause is who leave their rooms dirty. And the second sentence is the towels which were stolen were found in this customer's suitcase. And the adjective clause is which were stolen.
As always, a wonderful job by everyone. Thank you very much. And now it's time to listen and write.
Listen and write.
Listen and write these sentences. Number 1. The pretty reception desk clerk was jealous. Number 2. Mark's hotel room smelled bad. Number 3. Sally was ashamed to admit she had stolen the shampoo from the hotel. Number 4. My room service order was bigger than yours. Number 5. Ken wasn't excited to stay at the hotel with no health spa. Number 6. John wasn't old enough to have his own room key. Number 7. The hotel conference was on a subject that Rita didn't know much about. Number 8. We liked the people who stayed across from our room. Number 9. I returned the brochure which I had borrowed from the concierge. And number 10. Fred doesn't like people who smoke in the non-smoking rooms in the hotel. Now, check your work. Number 1. The pretty reception desk clerk was jealous. Number 2. Mark's hotel room smelled bad. Number 3. Sally was ashamed to admit she had stolen the shampoo from the hotel. Number 4. My room service order was bigger than yours. Number 5. Ken wasn't excited to stay at the hotel with no health spa. Number 6. John wasn't old enough to have his own room key. Number 7. The hotel conference was on a subject that Rita didn't know much about. Number 8. We liked the people who stayed across from our room. Number 9. I returned the brochure which I had borrowed from the concierge. And number 10. Fred doesn't like people who smoke in the non-smoking rooms in the hotel. Now read the following story and then answer the questions.
Read and answer.
Mark and Mary bought a medium-sized hotel in 1972. Mark was very excited to own a hotel. Mary, who had owned a hotel before, was a bit skeptical. The hotel that she had owned had gone bankrupt. The information that Mark told her about the hotel sounded good, so she agreed. They were fortunate to have some money in the bank. They only had to borrow a few $1,000s. Mark used the money he had received when his grandfather died. Mark and Mary are happy to say their hotel is doing very well. They now have 42 beautiful rooms, a comfortable lobby, and an airy dining room. Soon, they will build an outdoor swimming pool, which will be on the roof. A magazine which rates hotels said it is one of the best hotels in the state. If they continue to do well, don't be surprised if the happy couple buys another hotel. And now listen and answer the questions. Number 1. Is Mark and Mary's hotel small? Number 2. When did they buy the hotel? Number 3. Why was Mary skeptical? Number 4. Why were they fortunate? Number 5. Where did that money come from? Number 6. How much money did they have to borrow? And number 7. How many rooms are in their hotel? Number 8. What will be their next project? Number 9. What did one magazine have to say about their hotel? And number 10. Why might some people be surprised? Now check your answers. Number 1. Is Mark and Mary's hotel small? No, it is medium-sized. Number 2. When did they buy the hotel? They bought the hotel in 1972. Number 3. Why was Mary skeptical? She was skeptical because her old hotel had gone bankrupt. Number 4, why were they fortunate? They were fortunate because Mark had money in the bank. Number 5, where did that money come from? Mark received it when his grandfather died. Number 6, how much money did they have to borrow? They had to borrow a few $1,000s. Number 7, how many rooms are in their hotel? There are 42 rooms in their hotel. Number 8, what will be their next project? They want to build an outdoor pool on the roof. Number 9, what did one magazine have to say about their hotel? It said the hotel was one of the best in the state. Number 10, why might some people be surprised? Mark and Mary may buy another hotel. See you later. Bye-bye.
Practicing English.
Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Great. I can't stop thinking about that apartment we saw last night.
I know, the fact that it has 2 bathrooms, one for each of us, is amazing.
Yeah, that is a great feature. There's so many good things about that place. The wood floors in the living room and dining room are my favorites, though. I've always wanted wooden floors. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, there is something I thought was a bit unusual about the place.
What's that?
Did you notice this funny smell in the smaller bedroom? It's hard to say what it was.
You know, I wondered about that too.
Any guesses on what that horrible odor could be?
I think it smells like cats. At least, that's what I hope it was.
So, what else did you like about the place?
Well, the kitchen is big as my kitchen is now, but so much more modern.
That's true.
And I love the huge windows in the living room that overlook the sea. It's truly a magnificent view, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's the best reason to take the place. The view was extraordinary.
Yes, I also think the balcony is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. Some of the plants that the current resident has there are huge. She must have been there a long time.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope we could get some plants like those for our apartment. She must have a green thumb. I'm good with plants too. How about you?
I like having a lot of plants in the house too. And I've been able to grow some really huge ferns and cacti.
Great.
There is a question I have though.
Yes?
Well, both of the bedrooms are as big as my bedroom now. But one has a fireplace and the other one has a balcony.
Uh-huh.
So I was wondering, which of those beautiful bedrooms do you want to have?
That's really hard to decide.
I know.
The romantic fireplace. On a winter's evening, just imagine curling up with someone special in front of a roaring fire. I'm just really enjoying the idea of a fireplace in my room.
I know.
But then there's the idea of having a bedroom open to the starry night sky. It would provide a lovely breeze in the summer and make the bedroom seem even bigger, like having 2 rooms.
I know. I love the idea of both of them. The fireplace is so romantic, and the balcony will be beautiful in the warmer months.
I don't know which one's better.
Me either.
Well, one thing I do know is that we won't have either the beautiful balcony or the romantic fireplace if we don't get our money together and get over there and sign that lease before somebody else does.
So we want this place, right?
Yes, I do. Do you?
I will if you will.
Well, it's going to be a little expensive at first. I'm going to have to watch my spending habits. There are a few things I'm going to have to go without, like no Starbucks for a while. No clothing shopping for at least 6 months.
I know, Mon, me too. I'll have to cut back on some things too. No more movies 3 times a week. No dinners out for a while. And there are some other things I'll have to cut back on.
But I think it's worth it for such a brilliant apartment.
Yeah, there's a definite benefit if we get to live in such a cool place.
Let's call the leasing agent and arrange a meeting and sign the lease.
Okay, let's do it.
Carrie,
Yeah?
about that room with the fireplace.
It's what?
Really gorgeous.
You're not having it.
I am having it.
No.
I am having it.
No, no.